Now, my next guest, it's great to have him on this show because I've been on one of his as well. And my next guest is Ben Lister. He's a blogger, he's a podcaster, he's a radio presenter. Ben, how are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you, sir. How are you?
We're all right here. Now, what do we talk about first? Because social media and a microphone's never far from you, is it? You've always got a microphone near you.
That is very true. I've interviewed loads of heroes of mine in the radio and television world.
Let's talk about your radio job first, because you're with Hull Kingston Radio. Is that a community radio station?
Yes, it is. It's a community radio station where I interview some of my heroes of radio entertainment. And I also do a show about autism as well with two of my other colleagues, two of the other co-presenters, which is one of the first in the country presented and produced by autistic people.
That must be tough because autism means that you don't like change, you don't like taking risks, and you want safety. Well, radio is all those things is not that, is it? Radio is risky. You don't know what you're doing. So it's a big challenge for you, being autistic.
Well, I did get training from my gaffer, my boss, sorry, the person in charge of the station. He did a lot of training with me in the early days and he turned me from a nervous wreck. So I'm going to say thank you to Mr. Pete Mills. Nervous wreck to a happy, smiley person. And one of the first interviews I had was with a man on the station who does the mid-morning show. And it was about 3 years ago nearly now. And it was a guy called Wolfie O'Hare.
How was it the first one? Because I know for anybody it's nerve-wracking. But if you've got autism on the back of your, you must be feeling on your shoulders all the time. Think, oh my gosh, panic! What am I going to do? But in community radio, you are allowed to make mistakes, aren't you?
Yeah, and sometimes I'll let you into a secret. I sometimes pre-record my shows. Because one of the tributes I was going to do, but it hasn't aired yet, it may air in the future, was a tribute to a Yorkshire broadcaster who was on South West Tonight for a while, a good friend, a Facebook friend of mine and acquaintance of mine, Harry Gratian, who passed on a few weeks ago, if you've heard of Harry Gratian. You've probably heard of him.
Yeah, I've heard that. How did you get in then? Tell me about how did you approach the radio station, or did they come to you, or did you just knock on the door and said, hey, give us a job?
No, it was my podcast really, because I had to go back to square one because I got rejected by a load of radio stations because I didn't honestly fit their criteria of being a radio presenter because I told them the truth, I had autism. So that was one of my first knockbacks. So I decided to do the podcast series and 3 years later, here we are, and then decided to do a syndication series, which you were lucky enough to be on as well.
So when they rejected you, they couldn't say, oh yes, we're not accepting you because of the autism, but you knew that was the reason, did you?
I had my suspicions, yes, because they didn't have very many autistic people on that very station.
And this is what one of our programmes is about, that we can prove that people with any sort of disability, they can have an ability, a different ability, and you can overcome it or get round it. So you can work with it, can't you?
Yes, you can. You can work with it. You can work on it. And I do a lot of work for autism. If it's not on the radio, it's with the NHS sometimes on video filming days, helping the NHS raise awareness about neurodiversity and autism.
Because everybody with autism is completely different. I mean, you can have somebody in the same family with autism can be completely different from you, can't they? So it doesn't affect everybody the same way.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't affect everybody in the same way, and it's very hard for some people to have autism and very hard for some people not to have autism. And it's very difficult for people because I have friends with autism who struggle with day-to-day life and they get in there and they're learning a lot more about themselves day-to-day, a lot of my autistic friends, so which is good, and I'm learning a lot more about myself and what I can do each day. And new challenges each day in it and how to cope with those challenges.
So how is Ben Lister as a radio presenter today different from that first show? I mean, what have you learned? How have you got better? How has Ben himself improved?
Well, I have improved myself, but unfortunately I haven't been on air for a while for different reasons, because I've been very busy doing other stuff, but I'm still a bit nervous when I go live, so I prefer to sometimes pre-record due to my nerves and due to my emotions if I do a tribute to any person or people or group or something.
But you've taken that into account, and the actual finished product is no different, is it? You just do it a different way.
Yeah, it's no different, and I've just got on with it, really, to be honest, and pledged through life. And you never give up, really, and you need to just carry on and just achieve your dreams.
So is that your dream then? So what is the big dream?
Well, the big dream is to maybe interview loads of different people for my podcasts, have a different variety of people, not just radio people like me or you, Rob.
And are you getting there? I mean, I was very chuffed when you asked me to come on, and then I realised I was number 142. So I wasn't top of the list of your choice, but I'm still pleased to do it. How do you pick people, and how do you get them on your show, on your podcast?
Well, I try not to be annoying, but I sometimes ask them, and if they say no, then we move on. If they say yes, then I send them the script, and we just have a chit chat about their career and stuff, and then it just goes from there, like you obviously say, and a lot of other people. I interview news people now and again, people from the news section. I interview big radio presenters from like LBC, Talk Radio, and loads of other different stations.
So people today who are listening to this, and they're somewhere on the autism spectrum, what advice would you give to them? I mean, you've taken quite a few steps forward now. What advice would you give to them?
Have a great support network around you. Listen to We Are Autism and go to your doctor if you want an autism diagnosis, and go to different autism charities, and they might be able to help you along the lines, and you and your family understand what autism is all about and Asperger's is all about, because it's under the same banner these days.
I've heard that getting that diagnosis is not easy, but once you've got it, people say, "Oh, now I know where I am, and now I know why I'm slightly different." Is that right?
Yeah, it's very hard to get it because a lot more people are getting diagnosis these days, and the autism diagnosis is up, and some people are talking about it in Parliament, which is good because it needs to be talked about in different areas like Parliament and local councils, because they need to understand as well. And it's good.
It's one of those disabilities which isn't visible, and that's always difficult, isn't it? Because
it's an invisible disability, yeah.
If I saw you in Tesco's, I mean, I would think, oh, the same as anybody else. And that is good. But that is also a barrier for you as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Sometimes I can flap. Sometimes I can nerves. Sometimes I can be a totally different beast person.
And what do you do? Can I ask you what you do on your down days, Ben? When you wake up and you feel... I'll nearly say a rude word. When you feel like poo, put it that way. When you feel, when you feel not 100% rubbish. That's it. When you're having a rubbish day, what do you do?
Well, I just get on with stuff, and I sometimes go for a walk to work off my frustration. Sometimes. You've
got. You say you want a big support network with your podcast and your blog. You've got a load of people following you, haven't you? Loads of people interested in what you do. That must feel good.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I've got ex-children's television presenters, radio people, children's TV. In some cases, soap stars. In some cases, other people.
Now, when you're doing your interviews, you have a series of questions that you ask people. Can I ask those questions to you? Because I've got them here in front of me. I want to ask Ben Lister those questions that he asked everybody else. What's your favourite song?
Well, that's got to be a hard one. Well, I do like a bit of Kylie, and I also do like a bit of Prince. So I'd have to go with Prince and Purple Rain, my favourite song, because it's an epic song, and you're asking me these questions because it's role reversal.
Yeah, it is what you ask everybody. Who was your celebrity crush, or who is your celebrity crush?
I have several, but number one is obviously Kylie Minogue, who is appearing in the last episode of Neighbours, Friday week, I think. The last ever episode of Neighbours, 9 p.m, Channel 5.
This one is going to make everybody laugh. Your favourite food, Ben? What is it?
Bread and tomato sauce sandwiches.
I love it. I absolutely love. It has to be white bread, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Tomato,
it can be brown.
Oh yeah, but tomato sauce sandwiches is the best, isn't it? I love it. I have that as well. I've got to take Neighbours out of the question. What is your favourite TV series or film? Not including Neighbours.
I only watch it for Kylie anyway.
Yeah. So what? Come on, what's your favourite TV programme at the moment, or wherever?
I'm currently actually rewatching, when I'm not doing my podcasts and radio shows and stuff, I'm currently rewatching, if you can believe it. Do you remember the TV series Line of Duty?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. I love that. I really did.
Yeah, it's a brilliant series.
Okay, what makes you smile?
Being out with my friends, really.
This is one that's not on your list. What makes you cross? What makes you angry? Or do you get angry?
I do, yeah.
What makes you angry?
It's just stuff in my brain sometimes. Sometimes flashbacks to the past sometimes and flashbacks to the future, to be honest.
Okay, what else we got on here? Advice for people who are listening and thinking, I want some of that. What would you say to them? Someone that to see what you've done, you've achieved it, and you've got quite a way. What advice would you give to them?
Set up your own website. Go to your nearest local radio station. Community station, local station. And make your content. Make your content count. Do countless hours of editing. And yeah, just crack on and put your head down and don't annoy people.
And keep knocking that door. If they say no to start with, say, all right, then I'll come back in a month's time and I'll knock the door again.
Come back, cleaning up your act, stronger than ever. I've learnt this from the Dale Winton book I read. The Dale Winton book, it took him several attempts to get a supermarket sweep because he prayed with the bosses. He even went into one of the production companies and prayed with them and said, you're not going to get this, Keith, because they wanted Keith Chegwin, but Dale Winton said, I'm the right guy for the job. And he begged and pleaded, and in the end, he got his way.
We can't do better than that. Ben, thanks for talking to us. Come back on to Felixstowe Radio again soon because we love your enthusiasm.
I will do, yeah.